Hey, what's going on, guys? We're back again with Freshwater Mondays, and we got my good friend Jack here. Jack, a little background on you, so tell us what you do. I know you do cool things in school.
Yeah, so I go to the University of Montevallo in Alabama. I'm on the bass fishing team there. Been on it for 4 years now, so it's a lot of fun traveling the country, going to fish a lot of new places.
So yeah, you get to see a lot of different stuff, obviously.
Definitely.
And one thing we want to talk to you guys about today is just finesse fishing, especially right now during the summer, summertime, hot water.
Fish get slow.
Yeah, and a lot of pressure. Everybody's out there. So let's talk a little bit about finesse and what finesse is, I guess, in a way. So what would you describe finesse fishing as?
So finesse fishing is mostly downsizing baits and working a lot slower than you would, as opposed to like power fishing, which would be like chatterbaits, spinnerbaits, crankbaits, things like that. So downsizing, definitely a good idea when the water's hot. Slowing down a lot. Those fish are a lot more lethargic. So.
Right. You know, most of those largemouth, like you just said, they're not super active most of the time there. So we have a whole bunch of stuff here to show you guys, and kind of like we're going to talk about colors, how to rig them up, where to use them. So let's start off with your picks here.
All right. So I picked these. Really effective for shade lines. So overhanging trees, you're going to be able to skip these baits way up in there where those fish like to hang out. Just a hollow body frog. Usually dark colors are the best for me. They imitate a bluegill in the shallow water, which are really like common right now, eating bugs and things like that. And then a Senko, which is, effective everywhere, all times of year, but really good at skipping overhangs. They skip really well. So super slow presentation, slow fall, they kind of shake. Really easy meal for those bass.
So what would you use that or pair that up with there?
Most of the time I'm going to fish a wacky rig, which is just an octopus hook. You're going to bend that worm in half, put it right through the middle, and then that's pretty much it. Fish it on a spinning rod, 10-pound braid, 15-pound braid with a 12-pound fluorocarbon leader.
Exactly. And remember, you don't always have to match the size of the braid. You can. That's a cool thing about that. You can downsize.
Yeah, definitely.
So even if you have 15-pound, you can go 10, 8, whatever.
Yeah.
Now, a couple other things. I'm sure you guys have seen these everywhere. It's the Ned Rigs. I know this is going to be an actual effective way to fish, especially on high pressure areas. Just summertime in general, like you said, slowing down and whatnot. A couple different things you can rig them up with. Obviously, open hook jig like a Ned Rig. If you're fishing a little bit more open water, not that much structure, I guess like rock bottom and stuff like that. And they also make some of the kind of bullet weighted style heads with a white offset hook on there that you can rig them up with. So Jack, where would you use this kind of stuff here?
So deeper points, really good rocky points where those fish like to hang out with current, and also like grass edges. If you fish these along grass edges, great bait for that. Just a little bit deeper areas where those fish like to hang out, get into that cooler water a little bit.
Yeah, and then we got smaller swim baits. I mean, overall, match the hatch color type of deal with for all these swim baits. But this is going to be effective really well with the same thing. You could even use the same Ned Rig head or just whatever style swim bait jig head you want to use with that. That's a pretty small profile, and most of your bait fish will be not necessarily huge this time of the year, but it will produce some bites.
Yeah, definitely.
I personally like to use those on like some little underspins and work them. Same scenario, like you said, just deeper water, a little bit deeper points and whatnot. It works pretty well.
Definitely.
And now we got one more thing here, topwater.
Yep.
So small topwater baits like the little tiny whopper plopper there, and smaller bust baits.
Yep. Early morning, late in the day, these are going to be really good. What I like to do with a buzzbait is I'll actually take the skirt off and put like either a swim bait or like a buzz hood on the back of it. And talking about those reed lines, those overhanging trees skipping into the shade, makes it a lot easier to skip that bait back in there with this fish.
Right. And like you said, profile being smaller, that's the key with these. If you're fishing in an area that's small and there's a lot of people fishing it, or you're behind somebody, if you're on a kayak or a boat or just walking the shoreline and there's someone that left that spot and you're like, all right, looks fishy, let's try some downsizing. Is always the main key. You know, you're always going to catch a lot of fish in a lot of different sizes with the smaller baits.
Definitely.
But there's always that chance that, you know, like what's a good old saying, elephants do eat peanuts or something like that. Just, you know, it's like the big fish will hit those smaller baits too.
Definitely.
It's not necessarily just going to be all small fish. One little trick I want to show you guys here with the Ned Rig. I'm sure you guys have seen it everywhere. Whenever I'm kind of just skipping this bait, just hopping it on the bottom, I like to rig it up. And what I like to do is actually just put a blade on here. Just push it all the way in. You can kind of see the point there. So super well rigged up, but you can see the point there. It's pretty much, this is gonna stand up, and every time you're kind of hopping it on the bottom, that blade's gonna spin on the downfall.
Yeah, and that goes back to you talking about fishing pressure. I learned a lot about fishing behind someone who's throwing something different, and it gets you a lot of bites.
Yeah.
Even behind yourself. If you go down a stretch and you catch a couple fish and you think there's still fish there, throw something a little bit different, different color, different bait, and that usually produces a few more bites. So.
And now talking about color, I guess, and whatnot, black and blue, great for like dirty water, and their natural colors, more kind of like this natural, like just clear water and whatnot. And I guess with swim baits, just match the hatch, and of course if you have dirty water, then use that kind of scenario there also. Other than that, I mean, I think we kind of hit the point with finesse fishing. And one more thing I guess we can talk about is line. And that is one big one, which is, I guess, downsizing
your line.
Yeah, so I guess for most of this, we were talking about throwing, 10, 12,
maybe
12 pound fluorocarbon. Like you said, either you just braided line, go into a long leader. I like to go a little bit longer than usual. Personal preference at that point, or even at times just going straight fluorocarbon. And that will produce pretty well. Any other things you want to add on there, Jack?
I don't think so. I think you got it.
Yeah, well, that's it for this Monday, guys, and we'll see you guys next week.